Gio, good morning.
Good morning, Sorrel. Good morning. How
Man,
are you?
I'm doing great. We've got a crazy conversations for people this morning. Three leadership moves that create seven-figure business. And you know what? I bet you everybody's thinking they know exactly what we're going to say, but it's not what they're thinking.
Yeah, I'm excited about today's conversation, and thank you all for being here today. And this is a conversation that it's not really what you think, but when we look at all the clients that we have supported their business to get to seven figures, and all the clients that have a seven-figure business, there's these three common denominators, three moves that they need to do as a leadership team in order to create that kind of sustainable growth. And it's not what you think. So I'm really excited about having that conversation because it's real. It's not what you get on a video. It's not what you get on a TikTok, or it's not what you get on Instagram. It's actually a conversation on the court, business conversation that has to happen for a leader to build that seven-figure business. And you can't quite avoid it to create it a sustainable one. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Sorrel.
Yeah, I was going to say, and there's something crazy about these conversations because, uh, if you go to business school, if you go to all the workshops you attend, people beat it into our heads that to grow a business, there are three things that you need. You need more marketing, more systems, more processes, and more tactics and ways of building a business like the traditional way. Uh, but there's a layer underneath that, Gio, that either makes all of that work or quietly kills it. And that's what this conversation is about.
Yeah, so let's get your heart, you're building a seven-figure building hat on, and take some notes. And then if you have some questions, feel free to ask. But this is a conversation for building. Now, let's start here. Most most leaders think that their biggest challenge to build a seven-figure business, right, is their team. That they don't execute, they don't communicate, they don't take ownership. But it has very little to do with that. It's not really, the problem is not really the team. And the problem is not really the strategy either, because it's got to be the strategy. But at some point, the strategies become very self-evident what one needs to do and what one doesn't need to do. It's about working together. And that's the real challenge. That's the first challenge we want to engage with. What does it take for people to work together? What does it take for a business leader to create a team that works together? That's the first challenge, that's the first move, because here's what happens. What normally happens, people, human beings, leaders, don't relate to people as their potential. We relate to people as what we think they are, and we define them. We put them in a box. And once we put people in a box, we're no longer leading them, we're managing expectations of them.
This
And
is
that
crazy.
becomes difficult to create a high performing team. Go ahead, Sorrel.
Yeah, I was going to say this is crazy. Like as leaders, most leaders usually point to the team. And yet when it comes to managing the teams, not only do they not relate to team members the way they are, but they're actually relating to the teams through their own experience and the way they have lived. Like if there was a time when I felt unheard, I'm relating through to the team through that filter. If there was a time when somebody disrespected me, I'm relating to the team through that filter. Or how about the times I had to prove myself? I'm relating to them as that. So the expectations I have of my team members are really expectations that have been unmet by me. So it's this first move is to actually lead. I have to deal with my past. And while I think it's my relationship with my team, it's really my relationship with my past that's in the way of me working with people, because I can't relate to them as anything other than my interpretation of them. And my interpretation of them is colored by my own experience in the past. That first move is critical.
Yes, and for the most part, it's really difficult to see it
Yeah.
because I'm mostly reacting to fires, to circumstances, to things that worry me, to the processes, to clients, complaints, to unfulfilled expectations. I'm mostly reacting. People are mostly reacting in their leadership. We're mostly reacting to protect something and a fear, and we go into controlling. But we never see that this leadership, this style of leading, we never see it as, we can't see it as something that is unresolved in my past that is coloring my relationship with people. It's influencing my capacity to lead effectively. No one says, oh, I'm not effective at being a leader because I have unresolved things in the past for myself. No one says that. That's a huge blind spot. And so, what normally happens is that after years of not having breakthroughs, we start either firing people, we let them go, we try to get somebody new who knows better. And for the most part, it repeats itself. For the most part,
One
unless
employee after another.
unless we push through something. We push through something that's unresolved for myself, for yourself, through resources, through putting more money at things. You know, if I pay people more money, then they're willing to tolerate more of me, right? so so maybe I need to pay people more money, and we push through something, but we never discover what was in the way necessarily that has me lead effectively. So that's the first move. The first move is to complete, is to realize that what could be in my way of effective leadership, of being effective at leading, is something that we say it's a blind spot. Is what from my past could be unresolved, could be incomplete, that has me be in a box in the way I challenge others, in the way I have other people to work together, in the way I delegate, in the way I empower. So people who build a seven-figure business at some point push through that. At
Yeah.
some point, they got to push through that.
And the thing that we've also realized here is that when you push through that, it's like the first time you push through it, you realize that, oh, that's the move that gets me good relationships with people. And it becomes a practice. So it's not a one and done. People who
Right.
build a seven-figure business push through this in every relationship, for every team, and in every interaction. Because guess what? You are a human being, so am I. And there's something in my past that's unresolved that's giving me how I see you. And that's the move.
Yes. That leads to the second move, Sorrel.
Yeah.
The second move is that to build a seven-figure business that no one tells you about, because nobody tells you this. This is not, you're gonna find it on Instagram, is that it's about the strength of the relationship of the leadership team. How well you build that leadership, how well you influence the relationship of the leadership team, that how well the leadership team is reinventing itself against a possibility of a vision and against the possibility of a mission. The relationships needs to be strong because to build a leadership, to build a seven-figure business, certain systems need to be in place. Certain processes need to be in place. Certain um, alignment on how to do the direction and where to go needs to happen. And so, and in order for that to happen, the relationships among the leadership team need to be strong enough to deal with the uncertainty of building something. Now, most people never quite take their time to build a strong relationship among the leadership team. It's more like you do that and I do this, and let's see what happens. If you take care of your part of the job and I take care of my part of the job, then we're all going to build a successful business. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because we sabotage ourselves in the process. We might have the right strategy. We might be able to get sufficient clients to build that seven-figure business. But then in the process, somebody gets mad and somebody says, you're taking advantage of me, or I'm doing more work than you are, or you're not seeing the value I bring, or something begins to happen at the level of relationship and that stops the growth, you have to start all over again.
Yeah.
So that's a leadership move that you never hear really because it's kind of boring, if you will. You can't really create a hook out of this, but it's really important to start seeing it for yourself. If I don't build the kind of integrity for myself that builds a that strengthen the relationship of my leadership team, then it's very unlikely you'll have a seven-figure business. Yes, there are the outliers, but the outliers are not the norm, where you get some idea that the marketplace needs, right? And then you go viral, and then you hear how this young person became a billionaire. Those are the outliers.
Yeah, gee, I want to ask you a question about this move, right? There's
Yes,
the move of building a strong relationship among the members of the team.
the
I've
leadership team.
seen,
Yeah,
yeah, in environments where that relationship isn't strong, is it is it really difficult to make it even strong when one leader and another's thinking it's all about what they individually know versus the team itself? I'm wondering
sorry,
if
can you
there's
say
a
it, can
blind
you say
spot
it
there
different?
too.
Can you say it differently so I can get the context?
So, people try to break the ceiling of of building a seven-figure business by learning more. And they never think, no, it's not about learning more. It's about bringing someone else in who knows something I don't know. And then together we make something. So there's the level of building a relationship. Uh, I'm thinking, Gio, among ourselves, between ourselves personally. And then there's the relationship that comes by itself when you compliment me because you bring something to the party that I don't bring to the party. And I think leaders struggle to build a team. And even though the team has a strong relationship personally, given that they don't have complementary skills, and I didn't take the time up front to bring in the right people, then the team still struggles. What do you see in that?
Yeah, I see those conversations separate, right?
Yeah.
It's separate. The one I was pointing to around the first leadership move is, right, that we're talking about now. The first one was, well, what
Look at
gets in
us.
the way of being effective at leading and breaking up the ceiling is an unresolved past.
Yep.
No one looks at that.
Yep. Nobody.
Nobody looks at that, but we got to look at it. Otherwise, I won't implement the strategy that builds it. Then there is the next leadership move is strengthening the relationships of your team, particularly of the leadership team. Absent of building oneself to have a strong relationship with your leadership team, you have weak relationships, people that just show up to work, right? But with people that just showing up to work, they don't develop the emotional strength to reinvent themselves against the strategies that don't work or against the arguments that because of the unresolved past that doesn't help for the business to grow. So then the leadership team breaks. Now, a separate conversation is what you're pointing to, and that for me is the leadership move number three.
Hmm.
That for me is the move number three, which is that it's very difficult to build a seven-figure business if I don't bring people into the business that have a particular expertise in an area I don't know really about.
Yeah.
So, for example, most businesses don't build to seven figures because they don't understand marketing. The business leader doesn't understand marketing. They understand customer service, they understand their product, they understand how to deliver the product, but not marketing. And so, absent of having more clients, then there's nobody's building a seven-figure business. But normally, the business leader doesn't want to bring somebody new because if I bring somebody new, then that's going to take money away from my revenue. So I've got to keep it. I can't build a seven-figure business unless you have people that do what you don't do,
Yeah.
or it depends on the business, right? Or the technology that is required for the business to grow. The business leader understands it, but it's not an expert in bringing the kind of technology that the business needs. So the business leader wants to learn it. We want to be Elon Musk about it. If I can't hire the best engineer in the world, I'm going to learn how to do a rocket science. I mean, how to build a rocket. Well, that's really an outlier. That's such an outlier that is not even worth talking about. What builds a seven-figure business is that the business leader really takes a look and see what does the business need and how can I bring a person to help with that. But I can't afford that person. Okay, well then how can we make that person a partner of the business? If you can't afford it, then you can sell them the dream and they can become your partner and they don't have to make the money yet. But absent of having the right person for the right business needs, it's really difficult to build that seven-figure business. Not impossible, but it's really difficult, right? However, that's move number three. Move number two is without, for me, right? And I see it in our clients, without building the kind of integrity for oneself that strengthens the relationships of the team and particularly the leadership team, for the most part, a business won't grow to seven figures because we sabotage ourselves in the process.
Yeah.
We're on our way, and then leadership team fights, and then we're starting all over again.
Gio, there's a beautiful connection between those three moves, right? And I want to just say it out loud. So move number one is deal with myself and and what I have in my past that gives me the way I see my team members. And that move is critical because without that move, it's almost impossible to build a strong relationship among the members of the leadership team, because I'm seeing each of them through this lens that the past gives me, my past. So I'm always trying to make one team member this way so I can be better. So without move number one, it's almost impossible to create a solid team that's working together, because I'm not about building that relationship. Now, if I can do move number one, then move number two becomes the very logical next step. Let's build a strong relationship among us. And then move number three, together, if we've got that kind of relationship, then we can recognize we need the expertise we don't have if we need to build a seven-figure business, and we bring it in together. So those three moves go really well together.
Yeah, because there's a bonus. Yes, and there's a bonus with those three moves. It allows for people to be honest. Right? That's the bonus. It allows for people, it allows for the leader to actually be honest, to see where are the holes in the ship? Where are the holes in the business? Because for the most part, entrepreneurs are very enthusiastic and very optimistic. It's going to work out. But there's only so much fake it until you make it kind of strategy that a business can sustain before the sand castle gets destroyed by the wind.
Before the wave comes in and break it all apart.
So those three leadership moves allows for people to be really honest about what's not working, about where the numbers are, about where there is a hole that I can no longer cover up with being optimistic that it's gonna turn out. And being honest to challenge ourselves and stretch ourselves and be uncomfortable so that the business can grow. Where I see, so go ahead, Sorrel.
I was going to say what you're pointing to is critical, right? Because as I'm listening to you, you say be honest, to be really straight about the way things are and the way things are not, what's working, what's not working. Mostly, without the three moves, people are stuck and they don't know they're stuck, because the only thing they have available to them without the three moves is faking it.
Mm-hmm. It's
and
all
they
right.
don't know they're faking it.
Yeah, it's okay. A relationship is not working. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay because things go unspoken, problems get avoided, decisions get delayed, and all of that costs money, time, and energy. So a lot of times when I get the chance to go into a business, right, and I start working with the leadership team, this is what we do. We'll first look at, in order to go into the future we don't have yet, right? It's not that, I always tell them, it's not that the right leadership team is not in this room. Of course it is in this room. And we are more than likely we're aligned on the future or where you guys want to go. Usually it's a 80-20. For the most part, people are aligned on where they want to go. Now, in order to get where we want to go, we got to complete what's unresolved in the past. Because there are, among ourselves, there are things that have happened from the past that are not, they're not resolved, they're not complete, and we need to have tools in order to complete what's not working from the past. And then they get it immediately, every single time, Sorrel. They're like, yep, there's lots of things that
holding that grudge since day one.
And that's why I don't make a move. That's why I don't show up to the meetings. That's why I don't keep my word. That's why I didn't do this thing and this other thing. That's why I'm sabotaging the growth. All right, so we get the tools so that we can strengthen those relationships. We got to strengthen the relationships because then we got to go and be honest. We got to go see what's not working and who's going to do what is required, whether it's by the team or whether it's by somebody we hire.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to take with integrity action around what's not working. But if things aren't resolved, if relationships are not strong, nobody's telling the truth. And that gets in the way of building a seven-figure business.
Yeah. Because what's not working just shows up in the mess that's there.
And we avoid it. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's going to work out.
Joel wants to
Jolie,
say something. Go
Good
ahead, Joel.
morning. Good morning. I love this conversation. One of the things that made me think about is for me, um, I have a vision, I have some businesses I will be building, and I can say that one thing I'm going to want to keep in mind with relationships in the dynamic is just to kind of make everyone feel like their voice matters and is important, because as a person who serves, I'm on we call it the dream team. So I serve on the media team in my church. And everyone, some people deal with food or what have you, but my church, it has 4 locations, including a big audience online. And what's happening is, even though every church has a pastor under the main leading pastor, and a lot of different heads according to what group, things are not coming together, and a lot of people who are having very good suggestions are at, so to speak, the very bottom. So while there are places online where you can give suggestions, I don't think it has been presented in a way that really makes those people who might be a new member, help volunteering, or who may be, I don't know, maybe even a member for just 6 months, feel welcome to really speak up, and there's this understanding of, okay, well, take it up to this leader, and that, but people are understand that there's a disconnect clearly from that leader also, because there's problems. So I feel like a lot of it has to do with people not feeling like they can really speak without offending, or and as I think about myself in my business, I can imagine how difficult it could be for someone being all the way at the top, and you have people you put in place to deal with all those other people under them. As a leader, I still have a responsibility to let him or her do their job. So it can get very complex in that space. So I give my community grace in that sense, but it's just becomes like it can be a little messy there. So that relationship, like you say, is very, very important. So while everyone has a role, every single person knows that they're important and can speak, because these there we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what
Yeah.
we don't know. And then as we grow, as the business grows, there's so many little cracks. You're going to have to depend on the people who are in those cracks, around those cracks, to really speak up in a way that can't be as clear when you're not, a part of that crack, or you're their, administrator, and someone all the way, who has 4 managers between you can say. So that's what I wanted to say with that. It's still
Uh,
based on relationships. Thank you.
Thank you for articulating a clear view of what happens in any business, whether it's a church or uh, a business delivering a service to the public. Absent people dealing with their stuff individually, they end up not being able to work collectively. Because what you're pointing to, Joel, is that when an individual team member doesn't feel like they have a voice, it's impossible for the leader on top, who's not dealt with the past, to even allow the voice. So they can't build a relationship. So the example you're offering is just perfect. Without these 3 moves, the dysfunction in the organization that just stays there permanently, even if it's just like a hum in the background, keeps the business down and makes it impossible for it to grow past the point where it is. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sorrel. Thank you, Jolie. Thank you, all of you, for being here and being part of this conversation. The 3 moves: share it with a business partner, share it with a friend, share it with your community that are all
Share
committed
it
to
with
building
your
it.
church.
Share it with your church, communities that are committed, people who are building a 7-figure business and they don't quite get what's in the blind spot. More often than not, it's not the strategy. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next Monday. Sorrel, thank you for
Thank you,
being here.
Gio. I will see you in, well, gosh, we need to create an occasion to see each other physically.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So in the meantime, Sorrel, love always. Sleep at least 7 hours. Move in the morning and in the afternoon and at night. Go for a walk. Eat more plant-based. Get closer to the trees. Hug the trees. Eat the trees. Avoid processed food. Give. Give your jealousy away. Give your resentment away. Give your judgment away. Give. And above all,
Check your
what is it?
assumptions. Check your
Yeah,
assumptions.
check your assumptions. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I love you, everybody. Sorrel loves you more. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.